Well, our locker rooms were side by side at the arena, so the way it was built up underneath in the tunnel. So we're right next to Duke, and we get in before even Alford said a word. We hear Coach K ripping his team in the locker room next door. So he just said, he just pointed to the wall, and we just listened to his halftime speech, screaming at his team.
Both of you a halftime.
Yeah. So then after that, he's like, "All right, they're going to come out ready."
Hey everybody, Matt Griswold, Neighborhood Real Estate, back again for another episode. Now this one's going to be just a little bit different. Normally this is Why Do You Call Bolivar Home, Scott? I know you've seen some of the episodes, but you don't really live in Bolivar, but you are Bolivar born and bred here too. So I want to talk about this. This is Scott Brakebill. Scott Brakebill was an old teammate of mine at Bolivar. We played basketball together, and then you took the basketball thing to a whole new level, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But if you were to introduce yourself, Scott, what would you say?
I'm Scott Brakebill, born and raised in Bolivar, Missouri. You did a good job there with that one. Went to high school here in Bolivar from 94 to 98. Went to Southwest Missouri State at the time, which is now Missouri State, from 98 to 02. And then went on to keep playing basketball overseas, started a family, moved back, and living the good life now here back in Missouri.
Yeah, we're going to get into all of those things as we talk to Scott here. But what's interesting is this video, of course, this is a Tuesday morning right now, but March Madness is happening in a couple of days. Friday is the release date for this interview here, but I think it's so timely and so cool because, as you know, Kyle Polk just punched his ticket to go to the NCAA tournament, March Madness, which again is a big deal for the UNI Panthers. Good job, Polk, and UNI. And it's got us thinking. My wife said, "Hey, is Kyle the only one that's made it from Bolivar to the NCAA tournament, March Madness?" And I said, "No, Scott Brakebill had done that before." And she knew that because they have heard the stories, which we might get into some of those with you today. The stories of Scott Brakebill. And you played in the NCAA March Madness tournament. And as far as I can tell, it's you and Kyle Polk are the only two people who have ever done it from Bolivar.
Yeah,
did you know that?
I did not know that. That's crazy, yes.
I'm going to wait. We'll edit that. All right, so it is crazy. Like the only two, you're one of two, as far as I know. I'm waiting for this video to launch, and somebody's going to be like, "Oh, Bob Feller or whatever did it in 1954." I don't know. Tell us if that's true. But from what I've found so far, men's or women's, you and Kyle Polk are the only two to have ever done that. You didn't know that. How does that make you feel? Like what kind of a feeling does that?
I mean, it's special anytime you mention March Madness to me in general. You know, all those feelings come back, and then memories come back, and for people to obviously, you know, keep talking about it is special for not only me but for my family. They, you know, my kids didn't get to see that, so now they get to hear it from other people's perspective and know how special it was for us, our team, and our community. Yeah,
I'm actually going to start there, and then we can kind of rewind the clock a little bit. But so after you graduated high school, you decided to go to SMS to go play basketball in a state university. But you had offers, from what I've heard, all over the place. In fact, I'm going to start with a story, and you tell me if this is true or not, because this is part of the folklore that I have heard. I heard that you were not really interested in entertaining the phone calls from the coaches that were calling. In fact, I heard that you wanted to go golfing like that first day that it opened, and your mom, Carol, wouldn't let you go because you had to stay there and answer the phone, and the phone started ringing early. Is that true?
That's probably correct, yes. I do remember I think it might have been 6 a.m. or whatever time that they were allowed to call, and at that point, it was, the phone was continuously ringing, and I was ready to go outside.
Yeah, I would be like, that sounds like a really cool problem to have. But so who was the first coach to contact you?
It was Coach Wilson at Rice University. I remember that. Yeah, he was the first one to call, and it trickled down from there. There was Dana Altman at Creighton at the time, and then K-State, Mizzou. Just the list goes on. West Virginia. Just, a lot of schools that were on the phone.
Was there one that was kind of shocking to you? Like, wow, this was.
I think the most shocking might have been Pepperdine University. I didn't even know. I had to look it up and see where it was. That and University of Pacific. There's a lot of West Coast California schools, which now I'm kind of kicking myself for not taking those visits to go see the beach at the time.
I know a lot of people, and from the outside looking in, if you've never been a part of something like that, I've never been a part of something like that, but I can only imagine you're the only one that knows what that feels like at that time. Because from the outside looking in, there's probably a lot of people going, I can't believe they didn't go to whatever, K-State or Florida State, or, these coaches are calling. I can't believe you didn't do that. What was it that made you want to stick around and just
there was a strong connection early with Coach Alford and his dad, Sam, who they came to a lot of summer stuff that summer before, and kind of built a relationship with them. And then obviously being 30 minutes up the road, and watching Coach Spoonhour through the years growing up, and watching SMS play, and I kind of had a connection with that school already. Them and Mizzou, obviously, that one was really close to, it was close between the two, but obviously the connection with Coach Alford and his dad really sealed the deal for me early.
I'm glad you didn't choose Mizzou, because we might not have been able to do this interview. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. That's what I'm saying. No, but you mentioned Coach Alford almost passively, but that guy's got a tradition all of his own, right? Played at Indiana. Was he at Iowa before that, or did he go to Iowa?
He went to Iowa after.
After that, okay. But he was no stranger to the game of basketball either, and so I would imagine that was pretty endearing if they were showing an interest in you.
Yeah, and he had a quiet confidence of, even at a young age. I think he was one of the youngest Division I basketball coaches at the time. Yeah. And but he had a lot of experience, obviously playing for Coach Bob Knight, and he carried that confidence in the game. It carried on to the players. So.
Yeah, and you got to play there. This is prior to JQH, of course. So that was Hammond Student Center, right?
Yep.
Which was a great place. You played blue and gold games there.
Absolutely.
With Bolivar, and then you're playing collegiately there. Mm-hmm. What was the jump like from Bolivar to SMS?
It was quite the jump. Luckily they brought us in the summer before, which a lot of colleges do now. They'll bring the new recruits or new signees in the summer before to kind of get acclimated, do summer school, play with the team, get in the weight program. But the whole conditioning and weights and the speed of the game was the biggest difference. And luckily we had 6 months or so to kind of get used to it before the season even started.
Yeah. So we're talking about March Madness, and that team, your freshman year. We were talking about this earlier. Your freshman year. And I know many people watching this will remember this too, because you were around the TV getting ready to watch SMS as they go to play in the Sweet 16 against Duke. But really, let's even back it up a little bit before that. You found out you're going. Kind of a surreal deal, right? What was it? What was that experience like? And then where did you go first? And what was, I don't know, I want to know all of it. What was the travel like? What was the locker room like? What was the environment?
Starting back to obviously Selection Sunday. We just watched it the other day and with my kids, and they're watching like, okay, what are all these teams doing? What's this? And it's like, we experienced the same thing.
Okay. We're doing. Tell me if we have any more problems. Make sure you're still green. You're good.
I'll watch it even closer. Try to watch it.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. All right. So again, if you just want to start with, it actually goes back to Selection Sunday. Then just take off with that story.
Okay. So you
ready?
The question?
I already. So on the film, I already did. I can pose it again if.
What was it?
You want?
What was it like?
Well, I was going into that process like, okay, so what was the travel like? What was the locker room like? And you're like, well, it actually starts.
Yeah.
Before that was Selection Sunday.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Well, the best part, sorry.
Either way.
Start over again.
Yeah.
I'd say Selection Sunday is really where all the magic starts. Sitting in front of the cameras and just waiting and the anticipation. And we had to wait a little while. We weren't sure if we were going to get in. We just had a small crowd. Our team and our staff was with us in the room and just waiting it out. And seeing your name pop up on the big screen on CBS is a pretty cool deal. We went crazy and then tried to figure out.
So the team, you find out real time with everybody else whenever that name. That's
Absolutely.
A genuine reaction.
Yeah, we didn't know who we were playing. We didn't know where we were going.
That's awesome.
Really just, once we saw our name, the excitement, and then after that, after the excitement calms down, you realize, okay, now who are we playing? Yeah. And then you're like, okay, where are we going? So they sent us to Charlotte, North Carolina for the first round. And back then there wasn't any play-in games. It was just round of 64. So we got the 12 seed playing the Wisconsin, who was a 5 seed.
Badgers.
The Badgers, they were big. They were strong. One of the top teams in the Big Ten. Yeah. By the end of it, I don't know if the record still stands. We might be second place, but it was the lowest total point scoring game in NCAA tournament history. I think it was 35-27 or something around there. Don't
That was
quote me
kind
correctly.
of Wisconsin's brand, but the Big Ten,
Absolutely.
muscle it down.
Yep, beat you down. Yeah, so we were able to play with them and counteract that. Now, offensively, we weren't anything special that game. I remember my first shot from the baseline was an air ball, and the second one might have been as well.
Was it the moment though?
It was the juice. The juice.
Oh,
I mean, you have so much more energy and
Did you
adrenaline
start
flowing through
as a
you.
freshman?
No, I was the first one of our first big men off the bench. So
Okay,
I was the 4-5 that came off the bench and subbed in for Danny Moore or Ron Bruton, who was our 4 at the time.
I had forgotten about Danny Moore. We were talking about Fauntleroy.
Yep,
You had played.
Yep.
Danny Moore and Dale Lambert. Did you play with?
No, he was after us.
After you, okay.
We don't get in that tournament without Will Fauntleroy. He had a last second shot at the NBC tournament in St. Louis to help us move on to the next round of that tournament. Without that win, they pretty much said we probably wouldn't have gotten the game.
Wow. So you played Wisconsin first. And then second
we
round?
go on second round Tennessee. So Tennessee was the 4 seed that year. And again, now we're playing SEC team, and they were a total different style of basketball. They were athletic. They could get above the rim. They could shoot it. But something just happened that night, and we played our best game of the year. We beat them by 34, I believe. Something. We just everything went in. We had shots at the buzzer. We had alley-oop dunks, fast break. We were just up and down the floor and just dominated all facets of that game. So that was, that game was probably the most exciting game that I've been a part of.
It's probably after that game your confidence is there. Like
Absolutely.
we've beaten Wisconsin, we've beaten Tennessee, and confidence is there. No problem. We're going to run right through the next opponent, which whoever that is, and happen to be
the number 1 undefeated team, Duke Blue Devils, in the Sweet 16.
But a Bolivar kid being able to go and you're playing Wisconsin, Tennessee, and then Duke in the Sweet 16. You're in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. The best of the best. This is amazing. And of course, that Duke team, Shane Battier, was Elton Brand on that team, was Trajan Langdon on that team.
Trajan Langdon,
that's a team. That's a team right there.
Yeah, at that time when we were going in, I think their closest game that had been played was the round before when Tulsa played them within 25 or 26 points the whole season. I mean, they were undefeated. They were just running through, and they were the favorite to win it all.
Yeah, but by this time, and this is how March Madness works, by this time you've kind of captured the attention of the country, right?
Absolutely.
Southwest Missouri has captured the attention of the country and going, daggum, who is, and they're looking for this directional school from Missouri, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is Southwest, where is SMS? But you've beaten Wisconsin, you've beaten Tennessee. Now you're starting to become the darling of the tournament, so to speak. And if you're not, unless you're a Duke fan, at that time, everybody else is cheering for SMS, right? They just want to see this knockout. What was it like going out to warm up and you're seeing these guys that you see on TV, on just, they're some of them are going pro. Battier had a great NBA career. Elton Brand also. And so what does that feel like to you as a kid going out there to do your 2-line layups or whatever it is that you're about to go
Yeah,
do?
it was something else. We played in Meadowlands up in New Jersey outside of New York. So even before that, we spent the whole week in New York. Which again, for a small town kid from Bolivar, Missouri, and seeing these big buildings and driving through the city, and at first I thought we were just going to get hit by somebody because the bus was just winding through. The traffic was something else, but yeah, we got to the arena, we got to warm up and get used to the arena a little bit. Shots started to fall, get a little bit comfortable. Other teams that were there, I think Temple and Purdue and some other big teams were just huge that we're standing next to during pictures and during media day. But then finally walking out on the court and having those first 2 games against big teams already kind of loosened us up a little bit. I think we played wiffle ball for practice one of the times leading up to the game, so to really take the pressure off. Hey, just relax. We're just playing a game of basketball. Not quite like the Hoosiers, measuring the rim and the free throw line, but same deal. Walking into that arena and once the ball went up, I mean, it was a ball game. We're playing basketball. Didn't matter who we were playing against.
Yeah, that's so cool. Even if, despite minutes, and I know you played a lot, but despite minutes, you have a front row seat to what I think is the coolest event. This is bigger than the Super Bowl to me as a basketball fan. Like, this is even front row seat to the biggest event that can be there. And the speed of the game, I'm sure none of that translates from TV as if you're actually there. The strength of the game, the speed of the game, just the emotion of the game, of that type of thing too. So you go on, you play Duke, we lose in the Sweet 16. What was the final there? Do you remember?
We ended up losing by 16. It was, and I know the best part of it was, I mean, we competed. We were with them.
Yeah.
It was a back and forth game throughout the first half. 6-point game with about 5 seconds left, and Duke had an inbounds play to Trajan Langdon, hits a 3 to go up 9 at half. Well, our locker rooms were side by side at the arena, so the way it was built up underneath in the tunnel. So we're right next to Duke, and we get in before even Alfred said a word. We hear Coach K ripping his team in the locker room next door. So he just said, he just pointed to the wall, and we just listened to his halftime speech, screaming at his team.
Both of you halftime.
Yeah. So then after that, he's like, all right, they're going to come out ready. And so and they did. They came out ready. Langdon was hard to stop. He was able to elevate and shoot well.
Was he the Alaskan assassin?
Yeah, that's right.
That?
Yeah, he had a huge career as well. I think he went to Russia and played for 20 years. And just played overseas. But then, I mean, they had Corey Maggette coming off the bench. I don't know if you remember him. He had another 10 to 15 year NBA career as well. So they finally, their size and their strength and their speed finally just got to us. And they broke open a little bit. But we played with them for sure.
That's an unbelievable story. I love the account of that. I love the behind the scenes, which is again why I wanted to really sit down and talk to you, because I've never heard the story of Coach K ripping into his team, and we got to hear the halftime speech at the same time too. How cool is that? So if you could summarize maybe that March Madness experience for you, because did you ever go again?
We didn't. The year after, we had a better RPI. We had a better record. We thought we were in. I mean, that way we even had a bigger watch party, I believe, because we were expecting the name to get called, and it didn't. So we were one of the last teams out that year. So then we went to the NIT, played against likes of SMU and Mississippi those years.
Right. But how would you summarize that experience? I mean, it's just that experience that year. It's like lightning in a bottle, so to speak. How would you summarize that experience?
Spoiling. I mean, it spoils you. Really, that's what. But that's a good thing. You expected to be there every year. We had a lot. We had a big group of seniors that set the tone early. Competitiveness in every practice. Held each other accountable. Coach Alford held you accountable. I remember we ran sprints before some games on the sideline because some guys were late or didn't shave correctly. So we were actually out there running sideline sprints before the game. So I mean, it definitely set the tone for not only my college career, but just my career of accountability moving forward.
I'm going to ask you a question about that Duke game because I remember it, and I think you probably don't remember the conversation, but during the Duke game, you had a breakaway, and Shane Battier was under the basket, and Shane Battier he was always a cerebral player. He was a smart player, defensive player, and he was not going to go contest you at the rim. He slid underneath you as you were going away, and I had seen this, especially from high school and then into college, like you had a breakaway. I was waiting to see you just cock it back, and Shane Battier slips under the basket to take a charge, and you tried to go around him, is how I remember it, and finger roll it, and you got the charge anyway. Yep. And I remember you came back into town, I can't remember how far after that, and I was like, bro, you should have just give it to him anyway. And what a memory. Do you remember that play?
Oh,
do you remember him sliding over like that?
I remember thinking back, I should have did, but again, I was thinking get the 2 points. But I was going up.
You were thinking about the story 30 years later of how cool that would have been.
Yeah, and the basket counted. That's what's number one. The basket did count, the charge. These days with the half circle, that wouldn't have counted. He was under the net or under the backboard when he took the charge. But I think I remember Coach K saying years later he led the nation or led Duke's career leading charge. Yeah. Charges taken player. He was a smart player.
Freaking Battier. Yeah, I've never been a Duke fan myself, so I was really pulling for you. All right, we're at the middle school right now in Bolivar, and of course this was the old high school gym. My senior year, we were the first graduating class from the new high school. You're a couple years younger than I am here, but we both played on this court. Now, as a freshman, I'm leading up into this. As a freshman, you were like 6'4", probably something like that.
6'4".
6'4", and could you dunk at the time?
Well, I don't know if you remember the practice, but you might be leading into this one right before Blue and Gold. Coach Link, we had a great staff. John Link, and then Darren Archer was assistant, and Darren Banner underneath him. Oh yeah, great guys to be around still to this day. But right before Blue and Gold, I hadn't dressed any varsity games. I was just JV. Right. Freshman JV. But leading up to it, we ended the practice before blue and gold, and he brought everybody together and said, if Scott could dunk
it was on this goal.
It was on that one.
It was on that one. I
yeah.
remember we were all sitting down and cheering for you
across the court, and it was probably, it seems like half an hour to me, or an hour. It took a long time. We had, I think, Bill Neesmith and Munch. They were teaching me how to dunk in real time. Corey Garrison showing me how to do it. And it was probably after 30 to 40 takes, I finally got one down, and
got to go to the blue and gold.
Got to dress out for the blue and gold, and then every varsity game there on after.
So this is the one of my earliest depictions of you in high school there, of trying to dunk so I could go to the blue and gold. Fast forward through the summer, and Scott, you come back as a 6'7" sophomore that's now the starting center and can jump out of the gym. That transition for you, I remember you were talking about, I was like, dude, what happened? And you're like, jump soles. I think that was your answer to me. It was like the jump soles or something. Was it? Yeah.
They strap on your, to where your calves are raised. And I played in the backyard every single day with them. Also, we had a great group, David Hacker and Jason Smith's dad, Larry. They took us around the country and played a lot of basketball. We played competitively against some really good competition. So that obviously helps when you're playing a lot and you're staying in shape and conditioning. And then going back to our soccer days. I don't know if you remember that. I attribute soccer to a lot of it. I remember coming in, we played on the first ever Bolivar High School soccer team my freshman year, junior year, and then going into my sophomore year, I went out like, hey, I'm going to play soccer. But after about week one, I couldn't walk or run because I went through that growth spurt. Knees, ankles. So we'd have open gyms after soccer practice. I couldn't jump. So had to step away from soccer. Had some good advice from some parents that said, hey, your future's probably not in soccer. So stepped away, and then that gave my legs a break for a month or so. And then when the season started, there it was. So
it was exciting to watch your growth throughout high school. Because again, senior, you're a sophomore. I got to do the radio. So I was on like Radio Row when you guys were seniors there, and watching you. And I remember the summer before your senior year, I think I got a phone call from I guess it would have been Arch, or somebody called me and said, hey, the Mizzou scout or whatever is in town, they want to see Scott play. Can you come to the high school and just play a pickup game? And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Sure, I've played against this guy before. And I remember, this is part of your growth through high school, but you got a rebound and just took off and brought it, which you never would have done whenever I had played with you. But by that time, you did. You got a rebound, you take off running, and I'm on defense. I'm on the opposing team, and I'm about the volleyball line, and I'm like, I'm just going to jump him. He'll probably bobble the ball, and then I'll take it. And I jumped him, and you went behind the back and then straight up and just hammered it. And I thought, that's a new move. That's not something I remember you doing. And so the evolution, just for me, I know that everybody still talks about that tournament champions run, the game you had with Teddy Dupay from Mariner, Florida, who, he was a great player too, but just the evolution from freshman into how you grew as a senior, the opportunities you got, and I don't know, I know a lot of people know you from the tournament champions. You want to maybe summarize what that experience was like? And we talked about the Sweet 16. Let's back it up just a second to the tournament champions. That Hall of Fame game, I think people would try to. It was,
and again, that kind of was the before the college experience with the Sweet 16. It was kind of like an experience within itself of playing in Hammond Student Center, the court that I was going to play in high school, and I'd already signed. I'd already knew that I was going to the school, so I already had some connections at the school, and I was excited to play on my new home floor. One last time we played in blue and gold, but then tournament champions was something different. And then you walk in and first round, and there's not a seat open in the house. So that was pretty cool to see at a high school level to be able to play against teams like that. We should have won the first round. We always talk about we Strake Jesuit got us by one. And I think we were up by one in the last second. And lost that one. And then win the second round game against a team from Louisiana. And then get to play against Mariner from Florida. With Teddy Dupay, who everybody was talking about Teddy Dupay, and nobody knew. I mean, back then you didn't have, you couldn't scroll through and see what he looked like, see how he played. No clue what we were looking at. And then stepping on the floor, and they weren't big. I mean, Teddy was probably 5'10". We're like, no way. He's he's averaging 50 points a game.
Maybe 5'10". I don't even know.
But he showed he was all about for sure.
Had that
when the
Roman
game
numeral
started.
3 tattooed on his arm, and that shot was quick.
Yeah, didn't matter where he was on the floor.
Well, they had Ernest Graham also, right?
Yeah,
He played
NFL
for
fullback.
NFL, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and went to Florida also. And,
Yeah.
And so just really cool experiences. I think for a while you were like second in the tournament all time in rebounding behind like Alonzo Mourning or something, right?
I think it's still up there. We still go to the tournament and we get a brochure.
Make sure nobody's knocked me off of that
The
list.
kids are always like, "Where you at, Dad? Where you at?" No, but one of our favorite stats too. Looking back, Jason Smith had a great tournament as well. Nobody talks about as much, but I think we still lead in team assists for a game. And that was that game, obviously.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have made all those baskets without the 20-some passes that I was getting from my teammates. So that's one that I like to look at just as much.
That's really cool. I'm gonna back it up even further. You talked about those AAU days, and you played AAU at a time when AAU. Right now, you can go drop a pin in Springfield and find a program, but that wasn't the case then. And a lot of people, I don't think, realize that. I know my dad had called around at the time. I think he called Sports Talk with Art Haynes one night on the radio, trying to find is there a basketball program that my son could play during the off season? And it didn't exist.
There wasn't.
And so, but you guys had Rodney Perry.
So there was, at our age group, there's two. There was the Springfield Select team that had a lot of the players from Springfield area. Yeah. And then and the year younger was Rodney's team. Rodney had the Rockets with the Rockets. Josh played for.
There you go.
But our group, we again going back to Larry Smith, David Hacker, they put together a team. So there was a group of kids from Rogersville and Bolivar, and then sprinkled in, Mark Brown from Springfield Christian School, and then a couple other kids from Stratford would filter in, and we just throughout the years it kind of evolved with a couple of Bolivar kids, and John and Jason, and then brought in Andy Ruth to the team as we went, and just kind of and kept playing. They took us to the AAU circuit, which we had to travel up to Kansas City. It wasn't too far. Yeah. But then you could qualify for the national tournament, and it was usually either in Florida or North Carolina. So we got to travel with that group a bit. Yeah. But besides that, it was AAU basketball, or it was you're playing at the local Boys and Girls Club. Right. You're playing in just the local tournaments.
Yeah, and now there's tournaments every weekend, everywhere. But, and I don't want to speak for you, but being kind of in that game, I have that basketball group now. We have 9 teams and 6 coaches, and I have all these rural kids north of Springfield that are great kids. We kind of combine them, we put them together, and we go compete. But those are some of the most fun times.
Absolutely.
You got to look back. I know we talked about the Sweet 16, the tournament champions, but growing up and traveling, can you imagine traveling around to Florida or whatever to go play a tournament as a kid?
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty
that's
cool
be
deal, and
times.
that elevates that not only experiences but the level of player that you see coming in the freshman year. I was lucky going back to the summer before my senior year when I really got the looks that started to get the calls from colleges. Stan Kroenke put together a team out of Columbia Rockbridge, and they recruited me to come up and play. And I was the only one from this area on it, and Dan Stanley from Webb City was another player that was on it. And I'd travel to Joplin and drive up to Kansas City with Dan Stanley, get on a plane. They just hand us a ticket and say, we're going to Atlanta this weekend. The next weekend it was Las Vegas. The next weekend we played on Purdue's court. And then we went to Phoenix, Arizona, a couple other places, but that was kind of my in between playing with our local SWMO team that we played with here. But I got to go on the other weekends, off weekends, and play with those guys and experience a little bit of that travel you're talking about, playing against the top players in the nation.
It's a whole different level once you get out of town a little bit, whole different gear there. Yeah. But and as you're talking, I'm recognizing now that Bolivar, you guys might have been the first time that you might have been the first recruiters, because you mentioned Jason Smith from Rogersville. Well, he played in Bolivar. He moved to Bolivar. Andy Ruth, he was a Wheatland kid, right?
And then he came to
moved into town. Yeah, you guys built a super team. That's what you did there.
Not quite the Miami Heat.
Right. I love that. And I would be remiss, especially for the people that are watching this. You got to play. We shared one of our mutual best friends with Hacker. Yep. With you mentioned David, but his son John, one of my best friends growing up. I know one of your best friends growing up as well too. Tremendous athlete, wonderful kid. Share your thoughts on John. What was like that childhood friendship there?
Well, I mean, we talked about how old we are. We turned 46 next week. I was born on the 23rd. He was born on the 25th in the same hospital room. We were in the same room together. So from that, growing up, and our parents kept us together, and that was I'm thankful for, and spent a lot of nights at his house. A lot of, obviously, his dad helped in my growth and actually getting me to play basketball in general.
Oh, really?
Him and Brock Baker's dad, Jack, they started, the group to say, hey, push basketball in a town that was football.
Yeah, that's right.
It was football town, so they kind of started us off, saw that there was something in us, and John was the premier athlete at the time.
Right.
As you remember, from all age groups, he was the next.
He was the Hershey's track star. Also.
Hershey's track star. Yeah, he went across the nation for track and played baseball and football star. Ended up he could have gone and played football at Mizzou, and ended up coming to SMS with me and Springfield, so we got to be roommates there for years. Yeah. And then had our kids at the same time, and stuck together, stuck tight, and became, obviously, the one-of-one best friends over time.
Yeah, definitely one of my best friends growing up. Some great experiences. We could probably spend another hour just talking stories about John. but miss that guy. Anyway, so let's back up. It's interesting how this is working out. I didn't plan to do it, but we're kind of doing it in reverse, and then I'm going to skip way ahead.
That's great.
But so we're doing reverse. So you grew up in Bolivar. Talk to me about your family. I mentioned your mom. Mm-hmm. She was one of my 8th grade teachers. I loved having her as a teacher because I got to do the drama with her there, which is she's the reason why I'm doing this now.
That's right. She'll take credit for it.
So talk about your family, your childhood, stuff like that.
Well, living in Bolivar, growing up, both my parents grew up in Halfway, so they went to school in Halfway, then went to school in SBU and that, and then had I've got 2 older sisters. Leanne and Amy. Amy's still here in town. Leanne's in Carthage, so a lot of roots here in Polk County in general. But growing up and being around volleyball players. My sisters were volleyball players, not really basketball players. Leanne played basketball. She for Coach Keeling, which ironically she ends up marrying Rob, Coach Keeling's son. So the Keeling name and family is in our family now too. So it's pretty cool to have that. Obviously, Coach Keeling's a legend around here as well. Growing up, being in this gym with him, in PE class, and a lot of good memories there as well coming up. But obviously getting into basketball early, getting into sports early was huge. Soccer. I didn't really play Mighty Mites or like a lot of kids did. I didn't play football until 7th and 8th grade. And it got a little tougher whenever doing that. I remember my first experience playing football, 7th grade. The 8th grade, it was kicking off, and kicked it off to me as the kickoff return. First time I'd ran a football down the floor, and I get head on just demolished by Brock Roten. And I'm sure many people have over the years.
I'll have to earmark where this is.
The best football players, him and Lance, obviously, the best football players ever here.
That's
but
right.
He introduced me to football my 7th grade year and 8th grade year, but then didn't play in high school. Obviously, we played soccer and then basketball and then baseball and then turned into cross country and played golf my senior year. So got a little bit of almost every sport, which is
So sports were big in your family.
Absolutely. Well, not so much in the family. I mean, in general. I mean, it's just kind of me going around our group of kids. I think the kids that you grow up around really change you and evolve you and lead you in certain directions. And our groups played every sport, which I think what made us special growing up. We were able to adjust and compete. And learn how to win, learn how to lose, which kind of carried us on into our older years.
My dad recorded virtually every basketball game I played in. And I remember just talking about your parents, but it would have been my senior year, your sophomore, and you went up for a big dunk. And I remember, I think it was your mom. You could see your parents in front of my dad, and I think it was your mom, and they're doing the Arsenio Hall thing at the time. They're first ones out of their seat. They're anticipating that. But always, when I think of your folks and your athletic career, and I'm sure it's the same with your siblings too, but just supportive
Absolutely.
Group in a home like that.
And basketball brought us together as well. I mean, like any family does. I don't remember a game all the way through high school or even college not looking in the stands and seeing my parents up there. They traveled to every single Missouri Valley Conference game. Didn't quite get out. I don't think they went out to California when we played at Stanford or a couple, but when we played at Butler, we played, in Charlotte, we played in North New York. I mean, they were there. I mean, they traveled. I'm sure put some budget restraints on the family with my
Knowing
basketball
now.
career, knowing now. Luckily, I could
You
look
were
back.
your own line item.
Yes,
in the
I
budget.
was. It was like, all right, yes, yeah, expensive, extra expensive
Right,
stuff. Yeah,
extra
so
expense.
that's but
I remember
they,
you telling me playing against Stanford, and I think this is you saying the story, but Mark Madsen was maybe one of the toughest guys you ever played against, because you would go to
tough.
walk him out, and he would be in front of you. I think is how you said. He said
an
that.
immovable object. I mean, we were the same size. Looking at him, he was a senior. I was a freshman, but yeah, he was just a monster on the boards.
Yeah.
He was everywhere.
That's cool. I love those stories. So growing up, how has Bolivar changed? Maybe since you remember it from childhood. I do think one of the changes is it was definitely a football town, and I know we still support and love the football. They have to play over at SBU now, but it's definitely, it was heavy football, and then the other things were just the other things.
It was, yeah.
At the time,
Yeah.
and so maybe that's one of the ways.
And I think, I mean, from our times, and obviously your senior year when we won the first COC championship, really the first banner or something that could be hung up basketball wise, and
Right.
since maybe the 1960 state championship team.
Yeah.
So I think we had hope. I'd like to think that we had a part in kind of changing that narrative and leading more kids into basketball and more. Obviously right now looking back, and I've got a chance to go and watch the teams. Robbie does an unbelievable job, one of the best coaches in the state, and going to see them play at the blue and gold, and the amount of buzz around that program is just really it's electric. I mean, he has the kids playing as hard as that's possible and together. So that really looking at that and the success that they've had, it's nice to come back and see some of that, as well as the baseball teams. Darren Ankram's coaching baseball
that's right.
team now. Yeah, it's good to see him. We've played with him growing up too, so it's good to see that him taking over that program and taking back up to the top as well.
Yeah, it's really it is cool to follow the evolution of those sports. You mentioned my senior year, we won the COC for the first time outright in school's history at the time, and we won the Bolivar tournament, which again, this might sound foreign, we've won the Bolivar tournament for the first time since like '77, the year that I was born, that year.
Yeah.
And so you see Bolivar now or whatever, and it's like it's kind of a shock if we don't win, but at the time it was a shock. I think we surprised everybody that we were winning at the time, because that's not the way it was until we kind of got there. But Munch has that picture of after that last game hanging up in the barbershop, Main Street barbershop, with Aaron Munch there, and I still contend it's probably the best basketball team ever to come through. We can debate about that later, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Talk to me about your family. I mean, your wife Rachel from Bolivar, also. You guys are high school sweethearts, right?
That's right. Yeah, we met my senior year and in Jerry Scott's choir class, as we spent many times in the concert choir together, and that led into we stayed together through college a little bit, and then went our separate ways. Obviously, after college, I went overseas. She went on to being a flight attendant, which brought her overseas, and then kind of brought us back together full circle. And then we started a family towards the end of my professional career overseas, and brought her back and moved to Springfield and started a life together. And so we've got two very large sons that are eating all the kitchen food right now. Probably
they have a budget line now
they
too.
have a budget line, yeah. So now they're
kids.
Jameson and Owen. So Jameson's a senior; he's about to graduate, which is awesome. We're excited for him. And then Owen just starting his career, and he's a freshman, and he got to play in Coach McHenry's program at Kickapoo this year. So he was excited to get it.
He didn't follow you to Galena?
Nope. Yeah, he played. He wanted to stay. He's got a really good, solid group of friends that he's around and has grown with. So he stayed, and he loved it, and he's they're. Like I said, they're growing. They're exciting to follow, and we're going everywhere that we can with them and enjoying the moment.
So these titles here: basketball player, son, husband, dad. Right? It's fun accumulating these titles.
It does. Yeah, my coffee cup says it. Also, it just has all these titles on it that read through.
That's it. But it's cool as you accumulate those. You look back 20 years, and I think we define success differently as we age. And I think for us as we age, like those stories are really, really cool. But the legacy of family, or being able to raise kids, or having a successful marriage. I mean, I think these are all things that it's something to be proud of.
Absolutely. And
you've done well.
A lot of interviews that I've done over time, and even when I was young, people, what do you want to do when you're older? What do you want to do? I said, I want to be successful. Yeah. At the time, it's just I want to be successful, but I didn't know what that meant. I couldn't really define it. Now I can define it as having a family. Be able to provide for your family, being able to have friends that you can speak to, and they can live with and do life with, and enjoy just the simple things in life.
Yeah. Another tie-in that you and I have together, of course, your wife, Rachel, and my little sister, Allison, were best of friends growing up with that friend group that they had. And Allison knew I was coming to do this morning, and she was like, tell SB Dunk I said hi.
Yeah.
So you had the personalized license plate.
Still do.
You still do?
Oh, yeah.
Does it say SB Dunk?
Yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. I said, I'll have to ask him about that. I had a personalized license plate. Mine was Go-To Guy, G-O with the number 2 and then Guy, the Go-To Guy.
Yep.
And you know, I didn't keep it. Maybe I should have kept it also.
It's in the shed, it's hanging up in the shed. So we kept it though. It's still there.
Okay, I thought I was going to say I'm going to go get a picture of that on the vehicle. No,
no, not on. It's not on the truck anymore. No,
yeah, because then people ask you to prove it. No. Proving it now is different.
No, yeah, we're not doing that.
All right, let's fast forward. We're going to skip way ahead now. Okay, so first of all, in college, what was your major? What did you think you were going to do? Were you going to just go to coach before the other professional opportunities came to you, or what were you going to do?
Going into nothing. I had no clue.
Going to go play basketball.
I was going to play basketball at that time, and that was it. And I was a late bloomer in that aspect. I think even to this day, really not just kind of going with the day to day and not playing basketball, going to school. And there was a learning curve when I went to my freshman year and really learning, to be accountable on your own, wake up, go to class. We had a great staff that did that for us. So, we had bed checks, we had calls in the morning, hey, time to get up. We'd have weights at 5 in the morning at most days in the preseason and off season. That way we were already up and ready and going, and they put our schedule together. But by my junior year, I started to figure out I want to stay in the sports aspect of it. So I started taking we had a great business school, taking a lot of business classes, working towards just a business major, but then worked towards, ended up being private commercial recreations, what they pushed me into at the time, just because it was, to be honest, it was an easier degree to take than going into management or accounting while you're have a full-time job playing basketball and traveling, across the country, and 2 workouts a day, and just it was a lot to try to get into. So I knew afterwards, when basketball was said and done, I'd fall into where I wanted to be.
And collegiately, it's not just during season. There's preseason workouts. There's off-season workouts, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a full-time.
Yeah, you might get 2 weeks off after the season, and then 2 weeks off, or a week off. When school's out before summer workouts start.
Yeah.
Another week or 2 off. So there's a week here and there, but you're full-time. Working out multiple times a day, and then open gyms and then jobs in the summer. They put they put some internships and together for you in the summer, and the jobs now. I'm sure there's it's obviously changed with them getting paid to play basketball.
Right.
So that's
it makes me
I was
wonder,
a little before my
with
time.
the NIL stuff. It makes me the name, image, likeness stuff where these kids get paid, and they're not just getting paid a little bit for the good ones. They're getting millions of dollars to go play basketball. And I always wonder why they're so quick now to jump to the next level. Like, you get to hang out in college and you're making millions of dollars anyway. Yeah. What are you doing? But
I think we'll see
it's changed the game, and I think. I don't like the change. I think for the worse, but we'll see how this all plays out. How it all plays out. How do you feel about the NIL thing?
At first, obviously, still I didn't like it because when you saw it right off the bat, you're seeing kids jumping from school to school to school, 4 different schools, and I still don't like that. You should have some sort of loyalty to the school that brings you in. They should have a loyalty program to keep the kids there, and maybe be able to police it a little bit better at the NCAA level. And I think they will. It's so new to everybody that it's going. There has to be changes, and it's going to change. The one thing that might be good about it is the competitiveness of the game might elevate, because kids will stick around, because now they're making money. You go to the NBA, there's only 2 rounds of drafts. There's only 50 some kids that get drafted, and only half of those that are guaranteed contracts. And those NIL deals are probably more than most kids are going to get, especially if they're playing in the developmental league or playing overseas.
That's right.
So I think you'll see kids stick around a little bit more, and the game will get stronger because of it.
And you went to play professional basketball before the G League or the developmental league, right? That wasn't a thing at the NBA.
It was the D League at the time. They had started it. Yes, they had started just right around that time. Because I know there was an option for that that I could have gone. Could have gone to Chicago at the same time that I signed my first contract overseas, and
what went into that process? process? Like, and when did you know you were probably going to play professionally after SMS?
Probably after my sophomore year, they sent me to a camp in Hawaii. Pete Carroll, I don't know if you remember that name. Yeah, so he put on a big man camp overseas. Cool. So I got to go there for a couple weeks and work out with exclusively guys that were bigger than me. So it was, 7-footers and 6'11" guys working the post. But Kiki Vandeweghe ran that camp, and other assistants at the NBA level, and kind of learned there that there was more for me after college, and then had some agents reach out directly to our coaches at the college, and then they kind of kept it till after. Obviously, they did a good job of keeping me focused and not thinking about that at all until after my senior year was over, and then had some agents come in and choose one and pick one, and he had a contract in Germany, so I went.
That's really cool. So you went to Germany. Where else did you play overseas?
So with that first 2 years in Germany, it was in Karlsruhe, Germany. We won the division my first year.
Did you go by yourself?
Oh yeah.
No, so no family went with you to. You just
night before the apartment we're staying in, all my buddies packed the bag, just threw all they just threw stuff, and it's like, here you go. We packed my bag. I get to Germany by myself. I open the bag, and there's pictures of all my buddies. It was pretty cool to see what they threw in the bag. So, but that had some memories that they sent with me. But spent the first most of the 7 years that I was over there by myself, living in an apartment by myself, and learning. First year I didn't have anybody. It was they spoke English, but a little bit of broken English. Even the Russian coach that we had was he was rough but good at the time. He got us in shape and got us ready to play, and then got me ready for that life after that and moving forward. But we traveled through Eastern Europe. We went to Czech Republic a lot, France, Austria. Everything in Western Europe we played in at least, and then went to Belgium for my last 5 years in Belgium after that.
You got to see the world.
Absolutely, all of Europe,
and you got to. So Rachel joined you in those.
She'd come and visit at times when I was in Germany, and then towards the back end, probably was year 6 when she came over, and she stayed that year. And then we had Jameson, and Jameson, actually, my oldest son, he spent his first year overseas as well, but my last season over there.
Yeah, okay, very, very, very cool. Have you guys been back since?
We have not. No, the plans are on the wish list, or the bucket list, as they say, is there to go back, or I know the boys want to see it as well. It's something to see. Just the lifestyle, the culture, the streets, the roads, the buildings. Everything you can think of.
I think it would be.
It's
cool.
just different.
Yeah. I think it would definitely be a cool experience. So what was it like? You play your last game. That's got to be kind of an emotional moment there too. Basketball has been such a big part of your life and playing. Mm-hmm. Were you ready? Were you done? Were you tired of getting prepared, or was it like, man? I don't
think any of that. I think the pain is what really decided it for me. The last couple of years, I had severe injury in year 4 that sent me home, and it kind of stuck with me just in my foot. And then developed plantar fasciitis in both feet, and then tendonitis in the knees, where you can't drive 10 minutes down the road without your knees burning, or waking up. So this the wear and tear, I think, is what it was. I couldn't change my tires. I had to live with them. So at that time, my last year, I kind of knew, I was like, I can't do another year like this. I almost thought at one point maybe I'll take a year off and then get back into it, but you just can't do that at that age. And when you're 30, and they're just bringing in the next crop of young ones that can go and have the wheels still.
Yeah. So let's fast forward. So you're still in basketball, right? What's your current title now?
Current title?
Yeah.
Besides dad, father, husband. I am a teacher and coach, so at Galena High School. So got back into it. When I first came back from overseas, I got into it for 5 years. So got to coach with John Schaefer at Hillcrest, and we won the state title that year. And then went on to Miller High School and coached, and was the AD and teacher, and all the hats. Even coached baseball for 2 years and track, just every little thing. And then when the boys got when Owen got born, it really got rough. They was not seeing them at all, not be at home as much. So I took a step away because I never had done that before. didn't know life off the court or out of the school or in that environment. So I wanted to come home and help with the boys and try something new, and got into real estate. We had our own, real estate, some property at the time as well, that we were fortunate to get, and then help with some, repurposing old buildings and remodeling some houses with some friends, and then got into real estate, got my real estate license, and worked for a company for years. And then COVID hit, things kind of changed. The boys were into basketball and wanting to play more. Wanted to see me more on the court, and which was, kind of an eye opener. And I was like, okay, I think it's time to get back into it. And I got a call from a friend, Shane Chadwell, over at Norwood, a few years back, 3 years to the day, I think maybe. And he said, hey, what are you doing? It's like, I need an assistant. So I looked at my wife. I said, that's the calling. I was waiting for that time and that moment that life kind of throws at you as you go, and that led me to where I am now. And then the year after that, I got a call from Galena that needed a coach, needed players that needed some guidance, and students that needed someone in the school of my caliber, and I was honored to take that call, and now couldn't be happier about the situation that we're in now.
Yeah. Do you ever get like with your kids, like you're trying to show them something with the basketball, like, whatever, Dad, you don't know.
Yeah, all the time. It was like, to the point where I didn't even coach them. I didn't coach them growing up. I was like, I want to be on the other sideline. I wanted to sit and watch. I'd never done that before. So through their young ages, all the way from third grade up through maybe all the way through middle school, didn't coach them. I stepped in a few times when needed to help with practices, but wanted them to learn from someone else and see the game, and from a different perspective than what I'm telling them. But it was definitely the dad, you don't know, whatever,
whatever old timer game has evolved, right? You get that. So at Galena, though, you guys had a lot of success this year. This is another title to your name, right? Coach of the Year, SWCL Coach of the Year, is that right?
It was,
so congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate that.
And the first conference title for Galena since 1986.
Kind of similar to what we kind of in our playing career.
Is kind of a similar trajectory.
Similar. It's crazy how things kind of roll around. But I got had a really good group coming in last year that we didn't have any seniors. So I had juniors, sophomores, freshmen. So I got them for 2 full years, and we won 20 games both years, back to back. We got to the district championship and won some trophies and some regular season tournaments, and really had a really good group that learned and listened. But for the most part, they took the reins, and it was fun getting to coach them and watch them play.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, I mean, do you feel like you have roots there, or what's your 5-year plan? Do you have one? Or are we still at a day at a time?
We're right now just looking for next season. So looking forward to already planning on the group that we have back next year. I mean, excited. Looking forward. We had a great junior high group that went undefeated. So just building a program is something special, and kind of seeing it from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 and being able to do that. That's the only focus that I want to have right now. That as well as my family and enjoying the time. But it's beautiful country down there. If you go down the James River, people float that quite a bit. But getting to drive across the river and then go into work for the day and then stepping out and beautiful country and those are mountains.
It is a beautiful setting.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah. You also coach golf, did you say?
Yeah. We just started off the golf season, getting ready to go do that. Last year was my first year getting to do that, and really enjoyed it. Really love it.
I mean,
it's hard to beat free golf and getting to go out and be outside, which I love to do. Love to be on the golf course. Can't say I'm the best at it, but I enjoy playing and sometimes can occasionally hit a great shot.
Okay. So what does let's ask a couple of big questions as we move to kind of wrap up here. But what's your legacy at the end of the day? What are you hoping that your legacy is at this stage? You still have a lot of life to live, right? And so, but what's the legacy? It's kind of a 2-part question. We talked about being a dad to kids and a husband to Rachel. What are you hoping that they take from you from a legacy point of view?
That is a great question. I think it's being, somewhat respectful, humble, and in the moment, not taking, things like if you're on the court or in real life, taking defeat too seriously and letting it motivate you or refocus you and not let it, double down and carry you down, and continue to keep the doors open as you go, and treat people with respect. I mean, it seems like a simple thing to say, but to do on a day-to-day basis. Love people, listen to people. You're not the only one in the room. If you can take those little things, you can see a lot more. You can see and you can learn and you can grow each day. So right now at this point in my life, I'm hoping that kids will listen to me and not look at me.
They kind of go through that stage where they don't, then they come back and all right.
But then also not just that, listen to them. I think that's a big point. If you can listen to other people, then you can learn and you can develop relationships better. There's going to be rough times, ahead for anybody, and you just have to be prepared for them and learn from them. I've made mistakes in my life, and it's now I can say that they were good for me. I maybe needed them at the time. I still need some at this time. Need some smacking around to this day, and so just kind of to wake you up and get you refocused and energized just to get up and go be your best the next day.
You need that 5 a.m. call. It's time to get
sometimes
get going.
You do.
Time to get going.
Or the bed check. It's like, hey, go to bed.
Go to bed. What's your favorite food? Like, if you could pick a meal, what are you eating? What do you like?
Oh man, it's hard to beat good sushi. For me, this day, 20 years ago, would never say it. Wouldn't have ever eaten sushi. I love sushi. Don't eat it enough. Anything on the Asian scale. They make good food, simple food. In portions. I try to at times, but and then on that end, I love to cook. My son loves to cook. He's in the culinary class right now.
Cool.
So we cook a lot at home. Love to barbecue. Anything on the grill. Anytime you can fire up the grill, it's a good day.
That was going to be one of my next questions. Like, everybody knows the basketball side of you, but what's a fun fact that they might not know about you? And the fact that you love to cook might be a perfect one.
That could be it. And I had to live, like I said, we talked about earlier, I had to live on my own. I had to learn. And then I had to go to grocery stores where I didn't know, I couldn't even read what it was. So I had to learn what it was. Sometimes it was a fail. And I'd come home and be like, whoa, that's what that is? But just try to make something out of nothing at times and then learn how to cook. And I still enjoy to do that all the time. And so.
Cool. Well, I think we covered a lot of ground. We've been sitting here for a while, but was there anything else that you think that, man, I was prepared to talk about this, but we didn't go there? Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
Off the top of the head, I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys know me. We missed anything?
A lot
Shenanigans
of stories
in the hallways with Aaron Munch and Matt Griswold. Should we cover any of that, or should we keep that?
That's a whole episode. I do want to do one of these with Aaron in his barbershop, and I don't know if he'll talk about half the stuff that dude. I'm going to put it squarely on him. Squarely did. But no, I love sharing Scott Brakebill stories, and I know Hudson, my son, is here, and he's heard them, and my wife has heard them. She knew that you had been to the Sweet 16 because we had talked about it. The problem is I talk about all that stuff at nauseum, and so I turn into Charlie Brown's teacher every now and again. I just wah 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 wah. I think I told Hudson you played against. I remember this big game. I think it was your senior year in Camdenton against Jeff Carey. The 7-footer who's going to KU at the time, and you had that trademark little short corner turn, spin, fade away jumper that nobody could block, but Jeff Carey got you that night and blocked it. And I swear it felt like the next trip down, he went up and you threw his against the back wall. Those stories that, I don't know, they're etched in my mind.
Yeah, there was some good size back in our day. I know Jeff, he was a year older than me, so it was my junior year. He was senior that year, and then going to KU. But there's some good size around in the COC. I remember across the board, there was guys that were, 6'5". Everybody had a 6'5" guy at that time. So there was, obviously now I think it's more guard heavy. I think there's a lot of guards in the conference, which they're probably in a different conference now. Anyway,
they're the Ozark Mountain Conference.
But getting to play against Kansas. Got to play against Kansas. We didn't. In my junior year, we played at Kemper Arena, so we got to play against the likes of Drew Gooden and Kirk Heinrich and Nick Collison. Jared Chenoweth. You talk about a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, Kerry didn't touch the floor in that game. They had size.
I think he walked on.
Yeah, I think so.
Kerry walked on there. But that's very cool. It just dawned on me. We were talking about how you and Polk are the only two that I know of. Again, if somebody has a diamond there, but I asked the question. But to make it to March Madness, and what's interesting is you both came out of the Missouri Valley, because he's at UNI, Missouri Valley Conference. Of course, SMS was in the Missouri Valley at the time, now Conference USA. But that's even kind of more niche, isn't it? Like, you guys are both from Bolivar, both went to Missouri Valley schools, and you're the only two that made it to the March Madness. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. There's a lot of talent in the Midwest, and the Missouri Valley does a good job of keeping that talent locally. Would have loved to see them go a little bit further south than you and I, but that's a great program. Coach Jacobson's done an unbelievable job, and if anywhere to go, that would be top 5 in the Midwest. I'd say the school to go to play basketball and learn from one of the best coaches in the area. Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever met Kyle?
I don't believe so. I met his father and his younger brother at one point.
We'll have to set that up. Yeah. I was actually going to do that as a part of this with both of you, but he's preparing for March Madness.
A little busy.
He's a little busy. He's got a game to win. So, that's a great question. You haven't met Kyle, but do you have any advice for somebody like Kyle? Like, you've been in this path that he's on right now. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to continue to play or not. Kyle is nearly a 4.0 biochemistry major. Like, I think he wants to go to med school. I think he has other things there. But any advice for a kid like that?
I would say enjoy and take mental pictures of every moment. Or nowadays you can take real pictures of every moment. We don't have as many from our day. But remember the moments. Remember, especially this weekend. Remember, those memories will be etched in your brain. From here until you're my age. So I'd say remember those moments and keep all your gear. Don't let your friends steal all your gear in your closet. Keep your stuff. You're gonna look through that. Your t-shirts, your gear, your stuff that you can put on, give your kids one day. So keep all the keepsakes, store them away, and then 20 years, 30 years from now, you'll really enjoy looking back on that and realizing how special it really is.
That's cool. You get some sweet NCAA swag when you get there.
Swag. Oh yeah.
Is it in the locker room when you go in or something?
They gave us so much, and even at practice. And like I said, I don't have much of it now because my buddies. I could probably go to my buddy's house and it's hanging up on their walls, but that's pretty cool. So it's spread out across the Midwest and in various places. But it's pretty cool. We went from Nike to Under Armour to all the swag and shoes that you can get at that point. It's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, I appreciate the time, man.
Yeah,
this was really cool.
Thanks for putting it together.
Yeah, no, it worked out. Bolivar's, if you heard the tones going off, Bolivar's on spring break, so we're in the gym, but clearly they still follow the bell schedule, so sorry about that. But it's just cool getting to catch up with you. I've known you for a long time, and being able to catch up with you like this was a neat opportunity. So continued success.
Always.
Good luck, man.
You too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So anyway, Matt Griswold, Neighborhood Real Estate again. Now, Scott's not still living in Bolivar, but you can hear him talk. He is a Bolivar through and through kid with family still here. So if you're looking to buy or sell in the Bolivar area, give me a call. 417-616-9457. Talk soon. Until next time.